Missing person cases evoke a deep sense of urgency and fear. When someone vanishes without a trace, their absence leaves a ripple effect that devastates families, communities, and friends. Whether it's a teenager who didn't come home from a night out, or an adult who disappears on their way to work, the unknown becomes unbearable for those who are left behind. The emotional toil is immense as loved ones cling to hope, awaiting answers that may never come. However, when the missing person is a child, the tragedy takes on an even darker and more distressing dimension. Children are among the most vulnerable members of society, dependent upon adults for safety and guidance. When children disappear, the situation feels even more heartbreaking. The idea that a child could be lost, exploited, or harmed brings about anxiety and a sense of injustice. Families then endure not only the anguish of the unknown, but also the intense media attention and scrutiny. While communities come together in solidarity, they desperately try to bring the child home safely to the family. Today, we are going to look at the case of Madalina Cojocari. The last surveillance of Madalina was seen when she was getting off the bus outside of her home in Cornelius, North Carolina at around 4:51 p.m. on November 21 of 2022. Her mother, Diana Cojocari, said she last saw her at around noon on November 22nd, but later she changed her story and said the last time she saw her daughter was at 10 p.m. on November 23rd, when the child went to bed. That very evening, Madalina's stepfather, Christopher Palmiter, argued with Diana. On November 23rd, according to him, or November 24th, according to Diana, he left town and drove to Michigan to, quote, pick up items, end quote, from his family's home there. He later told police he had not seen Madalina for about a week prior to his trip to Michigan. According to the couple, when Christopher returned home from Michigan on November 26, he inquired with Diana where Madalina was, and she stated she did not know. And he told her that, I don't know either. Neither of them reported Madalina missing at that time, but each accused the other one of hiding her. Yes, of hiding her. In early December, Diana made a trip to the Appalachian Mountains in Madison County, North Carolina, supposedly to look for Madalina. On December 12th, the school resource officer and a sixth grade school counselor from Bailey Middle School went to her home to find out where she had been, as she had not been attending school. Upon knocking on the door, no one came to the door. The counselor later called Diana to request a meeting about her daughter's truancy on December 15th, and Diana agreed to take her daughter and meet the officer at the school. But she came to the meeting without Madalina and said she had not seen her daughter since November 22nd. Now, mind you, this meeting was for December 15th. She said she hadn't seen her daughter since November 22nd. Madalina was finally reported missing at that time. When they asked her mother why she had not reported her disappearance, she said she feared her husband, in quotes, put her family in danger, end quote. The FBI searched the family's home and discovered the child's backpack, and some of her clothing was missing, and part of the kitchen area was blocked off with plywood. On December 17th, both Diana and Christopher were arrested for failure to report the disappearance of a child. So in May of 2024, Diana, she pled guilty, and she was sentenced to time served. She had to give up her passport at that time, but after her release from jail, she went to the Moldovan embassy and got another passport and thus left the country. In June, Christopher, her husband, was also convicted of failure to report the disappearance of a child, and he was sentenced to 30 months of supervised probation. That very same month, he filed for divorce from Diana. This again, the story gets more interesting. So Diana and her mother, Madalina Cojocari, they both accused Christopher of selling Madalina to drug traffickers for a sum of $5 million. Rodica noted that Christopher had drugged Diana and her daughter's juice and then took the daughter from the home and, quote, gave her over to traffickers, unquote, while she was unconscious. She then also stated that Madalina may have had plastic surgery to make her appearance different, thus making her harder to find. At this point here, I want to ask you guys so far, what do you think? What is going on here? Let's keep on going. Christopher has said he does not know where she is, but thinks Diana is hiding her somewhere and that she is still alive. Earlier in 2022, Diana had requested a distant relative to help smuggle her and her daughter away from Palmiter. Authorities stated that there was extensive communication between Diana and this relative on December 2nd, and that multiple calls were made. If we go further into this case, the court documents show that Madalina was believed to have been sighted on a surveillance camera taken on December 16th of 2022 on Sugar Mountain in the North Carolina Highlands. She was in the company of a man who matches the description of Diana's only known relative in the U.S., a former Moldovan customs officer. It was also reported that Madalina and this man were seen together at a Lowe's food store in Linville, North Carolina. Authorities have made it clear they believe she still may be alive, but the circumstances of her disappearance are very unclear. She has passports for both Moldova and Romania, and both documents were found in Diana's car after her disappearance. To this day, her case remains unsolved. Madalina was born on April 11th of 2011. She's 4'11" and 90 pounds. When she disappeared, she was wearing a jacket, a white t-shirt, jeans, and a pink and purple white Adidas shoes. She's a Caucasian female with brown hair and brown eyes. Although this case has some curious twists and turns, we do ask that if you see her, if you hear about her, if you have any information regarding her, please call the Cornelius Police Department at 704-892-1363. Again, 704-892-1363. And please put your comments down below for what you may have think happened to her or what you got from this story. It's a very interesting, confusing, and twisting story, but I felt it was important to share with you. Take care. Thank you.